Welcome back.
Hello. It is September 28th today. Welcome to the channel. And our topic is you hold the trump card.
Mm-hmm.
It begins with a quote by Epictetus. How appropriate that the gods put under our control only the most powerful ability that governs all the rest. The ability to make the right use of external appearances. And that they didn't put anything else under our control. Was this simply because they weren't willing to give us more? I think if it had been possible, they would have given us more. But it was impossible. Okay. Let's make sure we understand this.
Mm-hmm. I get it. But
I think I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But, okay. How appropriate that the gods put under our control only the most powerful ability that governs all the rest. The ability to make the right use of external appearances. Okay. So we have been endowed with the ability to control what we do with external appearances.
Give me an example on that one.
External appearances is like you being in the room with me. Like I'm not in control of that. But I am in control of what I do with that information, how I see it and how I act on it.
So it's kind of the same concept what we've been kind of discussing is like what do you have control over?
And what you don't have control over.
So he's saying God's created us in the way, or we were created in the way that by design we are created in the way that we only have control over those two, right? And if and then they're like, well, they could have gave us control over more than just that, right? But he's saying, no, they couldn't have. Let's see why.
I don't know why he's...
Or why, maybe there is no why. But it makes sense that it's like, it's par for the course of everything we experience. It's like the most, it's like seems super simple, but it's like the most complicated thing, right? So it's like these paradoxes. Right?
So it seems simple. What do you mean, like that we have something under our control?
Yeah. They're saying, oh, it's so simple. You have control only over the things, how you perceive it. That's it. That's all. That's all you have control over. It's like, how do you look at that thing that is happening in front of you, whatever that thing is? It's like that seems super simple. Right, but now it's a paradox because like go do that. It's like, oh my God, I can't do that. I can't live based on it. It's well, maybe you can or one can, but currently it's hard to do that just on the fly. Like, oh, I'm just gonna switch. Like, no, this is like a lifelong pursuit to come back to this simple answer of I only have control over what how I'm perceiving the things that are in my purview.
How I'm perceiving it, and then downstream of that, what I do with that information, what I do with my perceptions, how I behave, how I show up to a situation, like that's also within my control.
That could be in your control, but then sometimes you might be out of control, right? And then you say, well, why am I out of control? I cannot control myself. No. What we cannot control is we're trying to control more than what we have control over. That's why we get out of control.
When we feel out of control, it's because we are paying attention to things out there, and we're trying to control things out there that
we don't actually have control over.
And meanwhile...
Or can't
right.
affect it at all.
And meanwhile, what we're neglecting is the stuff we do have control over, which is how I'm looking at it and how I'm acting on how I'm looking at it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, how I'm looking at it, and then hopefully that's where the action starts of how I'm acting in the world based on how
I'm always acting out in the world based on how I'm looking at things. Like that's always true.
Yes.
So then fixing how I look at things will fix that thing. Yeah. Fix how I'm talking about it, how I'm behaving and showing up, and I don't know why he's saying though, like that that it would have been impossible for the gods to give us control over the external. Maybe then because there's just too many conflicting. There's too much.
Yeah,
like he can't. Like gods can't give me that control and you that control because
right.
what if?
That's the problem.
Right.
That's the problem.
We want different things.
Yeah. So call a god or a system. That system would be something different than what this is, right? It would be that would be not very functional, right? Because like imagine that I have control over you, like what you think and how you do things
right,
and
but,
stuff. And
but if I had the same control,
and that's what I'm saying. Now you have control over that to me, right? And so now we're in this totally different world where I can control others to do something, but all of a sudden, as I'm doing it and I'm trying to control them, somebody is taking control over me, and now I have to go do something else. And I'm like, what? There will be such a chaos and confusion, right? So it seems
or
like,
it would all congeal together at some point.
Or it would that system would, if it could continue to exist in some sort of like continuous way, right? So like not self-destructive, right? So if it can continue, it would merge into something, or it would, it would be very different from what this is, from what this system is. So it's like, I sometimes also wish that the system was different, but not the system that we have. Even I think that we have control over the system we created collectively. Well, no, we don't really have control over it. We have control over how we're looking at it, and then that message and those actions can then affect this system that we created. But I'm talking about the system prior to it.
What God, system? Yeah, because that's what I thought we were talking about. It was gods, basically the system of reality. Not like the system of capitalism or any of that. The system of reality.
But that is part of that system, right? So that's what I'm saying. There's the system of reality, right? And then within that, there are all of these other systems, right? So a lot of people and then when we look at it as people, we're not maybe even aware of the system of reality. We are more aware of this big system here, the politics, the money, so we're like,
aware of smaller systems then.
Yes, they
seem big.
They seem the largest systems, but they're actually on the scale they're much smaller systems.
Sure.
But people are not realizing it, so they think it is the largest system. The system that we have control over here.
But we only have control over the system through our own perceptions and actions.
So therefore, we have beliefs that we actually can affect something out there by poking at it or saying things to it or manipulating something, right? Like we can only affect that by how we're looking at it.
Right, and our behavior, our behavior changes.
Sure. Well, that I'm just saying that starts, and then the behavior is based on how we're looking at it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You ready for Ryan?
Mm-hmm.
We could look at the upcoming day and despair at all the things we don't control: other people, our health, the temperature, the outcome of a project once it leaves our hands. Or we could look at that very same day and rejoice at the one thing we do control: the ability to decide what any event means. This second option offers the ultimate power, a true and fair form of control. If you had control over other people, wouldn't other people have control over you? Instead, what you've been granted is the fairest and most usable of trump cards. While you don't control external events, you retain the ability to decide how you respond to those events. You control what every external event means to you personally. This includes the difficult one in front of you right now. You'll find, if you approach it right, that this trump card is plenty.
I don't get the Trump card reference. Obviously not Trump, but like trumping something, right? Like some, is that how?
Because like Trump card meaning like, this is how I'm gonna win. I have this card, and this card lets me win.
I see. Right.
And people want that Trump card to be, I win because I have power over you, or I have power over the situation. But he's saying, your real power to win, and that's all you need. You don't need that extra stuff. Because your real power to win is internal.
Yeah. Okay, how I'm looking at it.
Right.
Yeah. That's powerful because that there's something about it, like you feel, when I say you, I mean I feel like, like I don't have control over anything. Like sometimes life feels like I don't have control over anything. Not even those the way I'm looking at it. Like it seems like the way I'm looking at it is just the way I'm looking at it, and I can't change it or something, right? So it's sometimes it seems like it, and so it's a reminder that like, no, that's actually the only thing I have control over. Therefore, go in there, go into that place where those things are being presented and understood in certain ways. So I have to relook at all of that and see if it's still true, and that's when I can change the way I'm looking at it.
Right, like it maybe feels like you don't have control over it because you haven't practiced it. And so like because
I maybe don't go into I don't have a space, a place, time where I just sit and go over this, bless you.
Thank you.
Go over these things. So that's on my to-do, like, hey, also meditation is great, but also this focused meditation is also something I need to continue to do and bring these topics into that focused meditation.
Right, because I think the place to start is where the things that are bothersome.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's bothersome, it means that there's improvement to be had in how I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
Because if I'm really looking at it the right way, my life shouldn't be bothering me.
No. Yeah, I want to find the way. Yeah. It's just, I'm looking at it, and sometimes the way I'm looking at it, I go into something and I'm looking at it a certain way, and I'm like, oh, this is great. This is awesome. I love how it is. And then something shifts. And now I'm like, oh, this is not how I was looking at it because of all of these things. Now I'm looking at it differently. It has these dark spots in there that came from, left field. And
like the
now
situation shifts.
The situation shift,
and now
then
you're
the thinking
about
shift. And now I'm like, oh no, this situation is crappy. This is no good. Like, no, because of all of these things. Like, no. And now I'm focusing on all of these negative things that are in there. And now I'm looking at it as the whole thing is negative. Right?
Right. And so there's...
Versus, but if I didn't, maybe a month ago, I didn't know about these 3 bad things. And I was looking at it as like, no, this is awesome. Right? This is great.
But those 3 bad things were already there, or like
they were there. No, they were already there. They were already there. I just didn't experience them enough for them to really stand out as a problem. They were maybe like, oh, that's strange, or like, oh, that's weird, or like, oh, well, that's funny, right? Like those are the first me noticing something. But maybe the 4th time around, all of a sudden I go like, oh no, this is a problem, right? Instead of, hey, that's funny. Now it's like, oh no, this is the core of the problem, right? And now it's like, oh, this place is not so peachy how I was looking at it, and now I'm looking at it differently, more negatively, and I go, well, why? Because I just saw those things. Well, no, of course, I have had a crappy expectation to expect that there is such place out there that doesn't have these dysfunctions in them. No, they're sometimes arise this way, sometimes they arise this way, sometimes they come from here. But nevertheless, I gotta expect them, right? But currently, when I'm going into something new, I don't expect them. I'm expecting it to just be perfect without any issues. Come on, why are we having issues, right? So I'm looking at it wrong way. I need to look at it with the, oh, no. Every single thing that I'm gonna touch will have also problems in it. Okay, I wonder what the problems are in this one, right? And it's like now I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I can see. Now I'm not looking at it that way yet. But I can see if I was looking at it that way, then I would have so much better time with it, right? Be like, oh yeah, which ones are I'm looking for the ones who are gonna cause the most problems because I know you're out there, right? Versus like, wishful thinking. It's like, no, life is great. Boom, you get hit over the head, right? It's like not expecting it, right?
Yeah, I mean, in that way, expectations sort of reveal
and not lower them, but changing them. Because
changing them
I
to
want
be
to say,
aligned with reality.
I want to say, oh, I just have to lower my expectation. But lowering my expectation has this other message in there that it should be perfect, and I have to lower my expectation to the way it is, which is not perfect and dysfunctional, and that's not how it should be, right? But no, I have to like shift my expectation, not lower it, to say this is part of it.
I think when you encounter those expectations, it's like evidence that, like, if I have an expectation about something, it now becomes evident that I am actually trying to control something outside of myself. Because I'm saying, I need this to be perfect or else I'm gonna freak out. So I'm not like taking the responsibility on myself to be like, well, why don't I turn myself into the kind of person who doesn't freak out about things and the situation can be what it is. It's this way, it's that way. Some situations, it's like a dance with these situations. Some situations I wanna be part of more, and some situations I wanna be part of less. But I'm never going to know how to dance the right way with those situations unless I extract my expectation and say, let me put the focus on me building up myself so that I can handle this and I can deal with this and I can see things clearly and calmly in each situation so that I can make the right call at the right time. I want to shake your hand. I do not want to shake your hand. And that's a fair decision for me to make. That is part of my control. And so now that feels like very powerful all of a sudden, because otherwise I start to feel victimized by life.
Yeah, that was great. That was really cool.
What?
Everything you said in the past, like maybe 10 sentences or 15 sentences, was like totally like a lyrics, like just lyrics going right into the song, like all of it, like it was great.
Well, we can pull them out.
And then you said this is very powerful. I was like, yes, it's very powerful. It was great. Awesome. We'll pull them out, make a song.
That sounds good.
Awesome. Good seeing you guys.
Thank you for tuning in. We shall see you here tomorrow.
Bye.